Buena Park is in the building. Buena Park? What's the deal? Nothing but the homies out there. Nothing but the homies. What's up with the homies?
Who poppin', we poppin', we major.
Welcome back, everybody. I know it's been some time off, but man, I'm ready to go. We got guests for you, and hey, here we go. Welcome back to the Center Lock Show where anything goes. I'm your host, Mark Vargas, and we got a special guest in the building today. Former Golden Boy Productions boxer, current professional boxer, getting ready to make a comeback. Christian Chimpa Gonzalez.
What's up, man? What's up, Mark? How are you, man?
Hey, man, I'm good, man. Like I said, took some time off. I know we had a little talk before, and we're rolling again, getting everything ready to go. And hey, man, who's better than you to bring on? We got a big fight this weekend, and man, like, first off, man, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Just I was a little sick last week. Dealing with I had COVID. I'm in crutches right now, and it is what it is. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm doing good, man. Thank you.
I that's one thing. Like I always wondered, like with fighters, you know what I mean? Like you guys have a pretty good like pain threshold, right? Like, do you ever feel like you can take pain or take a little bit more bumps and bruises than like other people?
I like to think. Oh, I like to think so, but I mean, in reality, that shit's all thrown out the window, man. As soon as I hurt myself, I'm like, ah. In reality, I can't get hurt and things like that, but I like to think so.
No, man, that's first off, man. I hope everything gets better with you, and we need you back in the ring. We need you back training so you can, the city. First off, man, before anybody even like we forget, man, city of Buena Park, man, you put on for everybody. I was just watching some of your fights on YouTube the other day, and you really put on for not just for Buena Park, but for Orange County, man. So like, how does that make how does you like take that in? Because I know we talked to Jalen with the Falcons, we talked to Nick with the Dolphins, and that's something they really carry with them. So like, did you feel like that's a big part?
Absolutely. It's always a good feeling to have Buena Park, Orange County behind me. It's a big responsibility, but it's always very happy, to see all the people from Orange County, all my friends, all my family, fans, and everyone just come up from Orange County, go out there and support. So yeah, it's always very nice when someone, recognizes me out in the street or whatever, takes a picture. It's always a very good feeling.
And that's right. That's right. But so basically for like our viewers listening, everybody listening right now, tuning in on YouTube, maybe might be on Spotify. We're still working that out, but everybody tuning in right now. The first half, we're gonna go over everything with Christian, with from his roots with boxing to what he got coming up. And then the second half, we'll go ahead and cover, like I said earlier, the big, I know there's a UFC event going on, but we got the fight, the event of the week. We got Canelo versus Plant. We'll go ahead and cover that in the second half, so stay tuned for that. But hey, Christian, man, let's get this started. When did you know boxing was going to be your path?
Well, you know what, man? I grew up always around boxing. I come from a boxing family. My older brother at the time, he was boxing, and I was playing soccer at the time, and I would just randomly show up to the gym every Tuesdays and Thursdays because those are my soccer practice. So after the boxing, we would go, practice soccer practice, and one day some kid just walked in and said, "Hey, I want to spar with that kid," and that kid was me, and it all started from there, man. It started from there, and I got out there, I sparred, I did 2 rounds. I was like hella tired, but I was like, you know what, this is actually pretty cool, man. I liked it, and then I started training every Tuesdays and Thursdays. I would do a boxing, and then after I'd go to my soccer practice. I did that for a while, and then my dad told me, like, hey, dude, like, you're 12 years old. You gotta decide on what you want to do. It's either one thing or another, And I was like, you know what, let's go to boxing. And so yeah, man. Ever since it's been boxing, and no regrets, man. I love it.
So you say I mean, you're coming from a boxing family. So like, I'm coming from, I like to say, a football family. You know what I mean? Both my uncles played, all my cousins, my little brother played, and now I got my little cousins, when they get older, they're going to be playing and all that. So like, did you feel like a responsibility to fight, or was this something that just like you embraced and your family just supported?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. No pressure. I always had, that family support, that they support me, with whatever I decide on doing, and so yeah, no pressure. Going in, it just became very easy to me to learn, and I was actually kind of good at it. So I was like, dude, this is cool, man. So that's why I just picked it up.
So when you got into it, so now we're about what, 12, 14 range, right? Now we're getting into high school. When did you start like having some of your first amateur fights, or like when did you start really start kicking it in gear?
My first summer, I think I was like in the seventh or eighth grade. Yeah, I was like in seventh grade because I remember actually one of my ex eighth grade teachers at the time. He was always asking about me. When I was in the fight, things like that. I think I had like 8 or 9 fights, and so yeah, I started like at 13. I started competing amateur, so pretty early, man. I didn't do too many amateur fights, but I only did 17 amateur fights. My whole amateur career.
And like the process of going pro, right? Like what's that whole process like? So I would maybe compare it to like when we had a conversation with Jalen, right? He was saying that when he was in college, there was that time where he kind of just started to feel like, or hearing a buzz that, hey, we're gonna want you to go to the combine, we're gonna want you to go, start meeting with some teams and all that. Like, was that kind of the same process, or how does Golden Boy come in the picture?
Well, it was. I mean, at the time, I actually had a trip run in Mexico because I wasn't 18 at the time. And in order to fight here in the United States, you got to be 18. And so at the time, I did seven fights out in Mexico. Kind of break the ice to kind of get my feet wet to see what I was gonna sign myself up to. And so I did my eighth professional fight here in the United States, and I sold a lot of tickets. There was a lot of people, and I had a very good night. And after that, within within 10 days after that, I was already signed to Golden Boy. I had met Oscar De La Hoya. Already had a meeting with him. So within 10 days of that fight in the United States, the power of social media. It got there was Golden Boy people at the event. They seen me, and then that video it got to Oscar's eyes, and then yeah, it's just the rest is history, man. After that, he said, "I want this kid," and we met up and we made it work, man.
How does that feel? I mean, you're of course you're Hispanic, you know what I mean? We have that culture to us. And so like growing up, I mean, I'm pretty sure you were a
Uh,
fan of Oscar De La Hoya, you know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
how does that feel to me? I mean, pretty sure like maybe a role model or like a figure you looked up to in that sport. How does that feel, for him to give you a call and like, hey, I want you to fight for my team?
Oh man, it was like it was crazy, man. It's still unbelievable feeling. Um, like it's still kind of hard to wrap it around my head. Like, dude, like that's Oscar. He would send me messages. We would talk and things like that, and I'm like, what? This is really him, But at the end of the day, they're just regular people, man, just like us. You realize, like, dude, like this guy is like he's normal like me. It's just they have so much shame around them, but really, really nice people, man.
That's, I mean, I have a very, I totally get what you mean with that. Like I've, not that I hang out with famous people or anything like that, but I've seen quite a bit of, celebrities, musicians, athletes, and like, yeah, they are real people. They like to, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's,
yeah. You see him on
it's
TV,
especially when you
you're like,
have like, I mean, I've never had something like you where I'm like, hey, hey, we're talking business, anything like that. But
Yeah.
to be around some people, it's cool to see. Like I always enjoy when I see somebody that can be has nothing to do with me at all. It's totally different class and they're down to earth. So, shout out to all the A-list celebrities and athletes
Yeah,
out there.
that actually is pretty cool. Like I said, like when I met him, I was like, dude, what the hell? That's an Oscar right there, you know? And he was like, dude, I gotta go, I gotta pick up my kids, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. I'm like, that's just what a regular person would do. It's Oscar.
I know I was going through your Instagram the other day and I saw, man, you've been around a couple big fighters as well, man. And
Yeah.
what are some of the? I mean, I think I saw Vander Holyfield, right? You've been around.
No, no, not him. I haven't. Oh, you know what? I think I have. I haven't really like conversed with him, but yes, I've been around when he's there. I've been with Chavez. I've been actually interviewed by Chavez, by Marquez, by I met 50 Cent, Kid del Castillo. Like I've been around some pretty cool people, man.
And that's
Canelo, of course.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw that picture in right now. That's a throwback picture right there. I mean, Canelo, well, how he's probably right when he was that before he fought Mayweather or
No, he had already fought Mayweather. Oh no, that one, the very first one, that was oh shit. When he was barely gonna do his fight here in the States for the first time, so he was very young, and then they flew me out to the Canelo Kirkland. I was ringside for that fight, and it's pretty cool. Like that the day, like Canelo, like I seen him right. So when he came down to the ring, like I was the first person he said what's up to, because I was like right there next to the stairs. So he comes down the stairs and he gives me a hug and he says, "Hey, what's up, Chimpa?" And I was like, "No shit!" Like this guy actually called me Chimpa. So that was pretty cool.
that's awesome, man.
At Canelo, like I said, when he became champion here, when he fought Hatton, um, he fought here at the Honda Center. I spent the night with the Canelo team. I was actually with them. So I've had, like I said, a pretty cool experiences with
Yeah, man.
Canelo.
That was probably a night to remember right there.
Um, I was in the getaway car, so that was awesome, man. That was really cool.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Hey, but you just mentioned it right now, man. Chimpa. Where did that come from? Who was behind that? When did you feel like is that a family name or
Yeah, man, that's actually my nickname. I it's been I it's been my name since I was like one, because you know how Mexicans, you hear something and it's a nickname and that thing sticks with you forever, man. And when I was one, I would put my hands up in the air and I would every time I heard music and I'll do like like chimpanzee and it just stayed, man. And like, oh look, he danced like a chimp, like a chimp. And Chimpa, and to this day, man, everybody calls me Chimpa. Like when I hear Christian, it's like what really calling me? But it just feels weird, man.
no, man? I mean, we went to the same high school, but like your younger brothers, man. Like I'd always everybody was swarming them, like, hey man, where's the Chimpa's next fight? I'd always laugh. I'm like, man, let them go to school. Let them be them.
Yeah, that's right.
Um, but nah, man. So what's your next couple plans? You know what I mean? So like you said, we've kind of been on a break since the COVID and everything like that. Any like when's your like plan on returning back to the ring?
You know what, man? Like things were pointing. Like I was telling everyone that I was gonna fight this year, and this year, but it's just been one thing or another that I just haven't been able to. Whether it's fucking, when I fell off my bike, it's just one thing after another that's been pushing me back. And I was actually prior to this, I was actually like I had like about 2 months going to the gym. I was sparring 2 times a week. It was kind of after 2 years of not taking punishment. I went back and I was barely getting back in shape, man. I was doing pretty good. I already had dropped two guys with body shots, so I was getting back in my old rhythm, and then I jacked my foot up, so I want to make sure that I'm at 100 with this, and then after that, go back to the gym and start off little by little again. And fingers crossed, sometime next year, man, we'll definitely get the ball rolling and get back in the ring, because it's been a cool minute, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, you already know we got the whole support, behind you is ready. He was ready to the Chimpa team is ready to, get out there and get ready
Thank,
social media wise, whatever it takes, man. We got you. But
thank you.
like within that process of coming back, right? Because I don't know, I mean, of course, it's probably been the longest
Oh yeah.
layoff or like delay between fights, but like going back into it, so like you take a couple months off and it's all right, let's get camp rolling again. Like, how long does that usually take, like to really, get the ball going again?
Well, me, since I've been out for like a bit longer, it does, it has to be a little longer, because if I'm training, I'm gonna switch trainers, I'm gonna just do everything. So yeah, I gotta get adapted to the new training, the new system, um, and just losing all the weight, the extra weight. So if camp is normally 2 months, maybe it's gonna probably add on maybe a little more than that. It's just it all depends on how much I blow up. I don't want to blow up too much with with Christmas and Thanksgiving around the corner, because the more I go up, the more I got dropped.
Tamale season, it's already.
Right, that's right.
But like, so that's, I mean, that's always been a unique thing to me, is like with me, football is like you got your season, but you're also kind of like working year round. Um, I mean, and I get like we have like I forgot, I don't even know the correct term of it, but we have like a month period where we're slowly getting into it. We're bringing the pads back out, taking those hits. How does that go for like a boxer? You know what I mean? Because does your chin, I mean, that's one thing I've always wondered. Like, people say, oh, they got a chin, I mean, like that's it stays with them, or like, do you have to like get that going again, start taking those punches, or like,
Not necessarily. You just, I mean, for boxing, it's different, from other sports, because this is like yearly around, so you gotta constantly stay running, stay in shape. Always gotta sharpen your tools, like you just can't just take like a month or two off, like without doing nothing, because you lose rhythm, you lose your timing, you lose everything. And your chin wise, it all depends on the fighter you are. I mean, some people are just have better chin than others. It needs like, let's just say you have a decent chin, right?
mhm.
But the way you drop weight is not the right way. It kind of weakens you, because you're not at 100. You don't take shots the same. So it's just everything plays a factor when it comes to fight night. It all depends on the way you give weight. How was your training camp? How was your sparring? How was everything? So it all plays a role, man. It's sometimes like, when people don't like know about it, they just say, "Oh, well, you should have dropped just 2 more pounds or whatever," right? But the work that's behind dropping 2 pounds, oh man, it's intense, man.
No, I mean, I did wrestling for my senior year of high school, and I got a few extra pounds to lose. You know what I mean? So it's not the same process of being a heavyweight versus some of the lower weights. But man,
Absolutely.
I would see the guys in there, trying to lose a half a pound, and you're like, whoo, man, like running 3 4 miles, and you're just like,
Everything.
yeah, man. It's so shout out to that whole process. I know it's messed up, but it's part of the game, and that's you
Exactly.
accept it. I mean, there's things that we, being athletes, being a former athlete, there's parts of the game you have to accept, and there's that's part of it. You know what I mean?
Like the question I get asked a lot is like, Chiba, you like getting hit? I'm like, no, 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 no. There's a difference. I'm like, I don't enjoy getting hit. I'm like, I know it comes with the process, but I'm like, I try to get hit as less as possible.
Mhm.
Like, it's like, it hurts. I mean, within the moment with the adrenaline, you don't really feel much, but I mean, the next day your face says it all, man.
Hell yeah, man. So, hey, Chimpa, so we're going to transition this conversation. All right. I'm going to
All
have
right.
3 questions for you, and then we'll have a little break and then go back into the second half of the show. So,
Okay.
3 questions I got for you, my boy. The first
All right.
question is, what are your goals in the boxing, like your career? Like, what's some of the steps? Maybe it's a 3-year plan, or like I got 3 goals I want to hit. What are your goals?
Well, the most importantly, number one is being world champ. Being the best fighter I can possibly be. Now that I'm a little older, I think differently. I see things differently, and I believe that this second time around, this second round that I'm gonna have, it's gonna be definitely way better than the first one because like I said, it's just my mindset. It's just differently than what I had a couple years ago. Back then, I was just like, dude, like I'm 21, I'm 22, like I'm indestructible. I would do things wrong. I would just, my head it wasn't where it was supposed to be. And now that I'm a little older, like I said, I think differently. So I haven't lost hope yet. I know that I got it in me. It's just, being able to perform and doing everything right the second time around. And, I'm very excited for that, man.
That's right, man. We're like I said earlier, we were right behind you. Whenever you take a step, man, your support system will be taking that same step, supporting you every step of the way. Second question for you. Who are like, I know we talked about it a while back with Ohio with Oscar De La Hoya. Who are some of the boxers you look up to, like where you can say, you know what, I like their style, or I emulate their style, or not even, maybe you don't emulate them, but you've always been a fan.
You know what? I always been a fan of Mayweather. As a fighter, me that I'm a fighter, like the things that he does is not easy, man. Like you sometimes try at the gym or two, and it's hard, man. It's hard. So that's someone that I've looked up to. Canelo, Canelo's another one that I look up to, man. Like you just see progress after every fight. You see progress. Like you see that he's really that he's sticking to his game, to his craft, and he's learning, and he's definitely an example. And another one of my favorite fighters is Miguel Cotto. That's actually a fighter that I really watch a lot on YouTube to this day. I still watch him. It's just an overall a really really good fighter, man.
All right, so the last question has nothing to do with boxing at all. Nothing. It's throwing a curveball right now. All right.
Alright.
What was the best movie you've seen this last year?
The best movie I've seen. To be honest, man, I'm not really a movie guy, to be completely honest with you. But let me see, what movie have I seen that I really like?
Or if you got a good TV show that you need trying to put people onto, you know.
You know what? The what I'm watching right now is called The Inmate. Like I seen it on Netflix. I don't really watch Netflix, but I mean I've seen it. I seen it like a year ago, and I really liked it. I'm watching it again. So for all my Spanish people, if you guys know Spanish, you guys gotta watch it. And the original language is in Spanish. So I highly recommend that one, The Inmate. Like I love it. I love it. Like I said, I've seen it. This is gonna be my third time seeing it. Yeah, I really like that show, man. So The Inmate, I recommend you guys.
Hell yeah, ever check that out? Chimpa said to check it out. All right. But hey, now everybody, we'll be right back. We're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're talking the super fight this weekend: Canelo versus Plant. We'll also be talking, a little bit. It happened about a month ago. We got Fury versus Wilder, and then of course we're gonna talk about the person everybody loves to hate, Jake Paul. So we got a good second half of this show. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. promo code sideline10 to receive 10% off all of your graphic design needs, logos, pictures, business cards, anything that you need. Contact Matthew Cifuentes at Matt2Siffy. Welcome back to the show where everything goes. I'm your host, Mark Vargas, and we're right back with it with Chimpa Gonzalez. Hey, Chimpa, man. It's been like boxing has kind of been the most popular it's been, I'd say, in a while, right? Like since COVID, really.
It's popping, man. It's popping. It's getting a lot of exposure right now.
Okay, so I mean, you being a professional boxer, I really need your take on this. All right, before we get into Canelo and before we get into Fury, Jake Paul, man, are you embracing that? Are you saying, all right, you know what, he's bringing some exposure to my sport, or is it kind of like, man, get this fool out of here? What's your take on it?
It's a little bit of both, man. In a way, like, yeah, he's bringing a bunch of new audiences to to the sport, but I just think he's bringing it in the wrong way, man. Like he thinks this is a game. Like, this is not a joke, dude. Like, you guys can get hurt, and I think that this whole YouTube, this celebrity thing, is gonna stop until when someone gets hurt, man. Because these guys think like oh, like it's a game. No, dude, like this is not a game. Like you fight with some really small gloves. These guys don't know how really dangerous it is, and so I personally think that they're gonna stop this until someone gets really hurt, man.
Yeah, I mean, I was just watching, I don't know, every time you go on YouTube, you see like, oh, top 10 knockouts or whatever.
Yeah.
And some of these hits, you can tell that it's like, if you look at the fighter before and after, they're not the same. Like it's
Yeah, man. Like it really is. Like I said, everything on TV looks bigger. Yourself looks bigger. The gloves you fight in, I mean, once you fight over 147, they're 10-ounce gloves. But still, man, 10-ounce gloves, that's small, man. That's small. And like I said, these guys don't know how to give weight. Like if they're dehydrated, if there are things like that, like getting hit in the head with some small gloves like that, dude, like it can be healthy for you, And so like I said, everything looks bigger on TV, but those gloves they fight in, they're very small. You have no protection in your head, like, dude, like no headgear, nothing's there, man. You can seriously get hurt, man. Like it's not a game.
No, hey, I understand that fully, man. I think he's fighting little Fury up next, the little brother.
I don't think he's him, man.
So say he goes in there and he beats Fury, and I know there's always that speculation, oh, he's paid off or whatever. But let's just say it's real. We're not in that conversation.
Yeah.
We're not behind those closed doors. And I always like to give people the benefit of the doubt, right? Let's say he beats Fury. Do you think that is the first win? I mean, he did, this last fight, that's a former UFC champion, but like he's not a boxer. If he goes in there and he dances and he can show that, he has some stuff, do you think that people will maybe start to take him a little bit more serious, or do you think it's still part of the same type of?
It all depends. Like, unfortunately, you know how this is. You got to perform, and if he's able to get a good performance and a performance that convinces you, then hey, okay. But after his last performance, didn't really he didn't do all that good. And this guy, he's not gonna be like a pushover like the other guys. I'm not saying that the other guys are like, no disrespect to him, but I mean they're not at his level, their first fight or whatever. They just have everything in his favor to win. But yeah, this guy is not gonna be no pushover for him. So I think right now I don't think he beats him.
I don't think Big Brother will allow that to happen.
Exactly.
But since we're talking about Big Brother, hey, Tyson Fury, man, what a performance. I think that, I mean, like I said, I like watching the smaller guys fight because quicker, more punches, like it's more of a duel between, the actual skill of it. I mean, sometimes you see heavyweight boxers fight and there's just a lot of power punches, but in this fight you saw a little bit of everything, man. So like, you being, like I said, a professional boxer, what was your take on this fight?
Man, to be completely honest, I didn't think it was gonna last that long. To be honest with you, I thought, um, to be completely honest, I honestly thought that Wilder was gonna beat him. He just seemed like he was, his mindset was just a little different. He looked physically good, but no, man, you can't underestimate the Gypsy King, man. That guy's he's something else, man. They put on a hell of a show, and that he showed why he's number one.
Have you ever like met any of them? Have you ever, been kind of,
I haven't met him. Like I've seen him. We've been like in the same like arena or whatever, and they seen him pass by. Like they're some big guys, man. They're really big, but I haven't met none of them.
hey man, yeah, that's one thing I would love to see, because that's something. Oh man, the Gypsy King's a giant. I would really like to see, because they were kind of saying, like, compared to some basketball players, like, they're starting in the NBA with their height and stuff. You know what I mean?
This guy's big, man, and like I said, imagine they're fighting in 10-ounce gloves, man. That's really little, dude. That's like 10 ounces for them is nothing. You know how big they are.
Man, I wouldn't want to take a punch from either of them. Put it like that. And like I said, before we get into Canelo, I kind of want to say that a little bit. Any other fights that maybe you've seen in the last couple months, or any? I think I saw there was a really good one. I want to say the Haney fight, or no, the Gervonta Davis fight. That one was when they went 12 with there was another Mexican fighter, right?
It was literally a year ago. That one happened on Christmas, on Halloween a year ago when he knocked him out. But yeah, I mean Davis was supposed to fight Rollies on fifth, but since he got charged with some sex accounts or whatever, he's not. He got pulled away, so I don't even know who the guy he's fighting. I mean, doesn't really catch my attention no more. I wanted to see Rollies,
Hmm.
but that one didn't go through no more.
Who are the fighters in, like, the top guys in your weight class right now, or like in your sphere of maybe one day you can?
Well, Ryan Teofimo, Haney, well right now JoJo. The 135, man. It's stacked, man. It's stacked with a bunch of killers, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, I was kind of bummed. I wanted to see Teofimo fight. You know what I mean? And the whole, he got COVID and all that. I think he's a bad dude, man. He's
Well, man, he's something else, man. He's a really, really good fighter, man. I don't see nobody beating him. Like anybody at 135, I see nobody giving him any troubles.
And what's up with Ryan, man? You think he gonna get over his demons? You think it's he gonna make a good comeback, or?
You know what, man? I don't. He's a good fighter. I think he's a great fighter. I just think that he just has too much on his plate for the age he has, man. Like he just has, I don't know, man, too much on his plate for his age. I mean, no, don't get me wrong. Like, good for him that he's able to provide for everyone, for his family, not working for everyone. But like he's young, man. He's young, and there's only so much your body can take. But Ryan, like I said, he don't need. He has more money coming in from outside of boxing. Like he don't need boxing. He, like I said, he just does it because he's really good at it, and he has the looks of it. But like I said, he doesn't really need boxing, so that's why Canelo just said I don't know if you read the comment that he said that he just doesn't seem that hunger in him for the same reason that he doesn't need boxing money no more, because he gets more from other things. That's why, the hunger isn't there. I think,
Yeah, I mean, I get that take. You know what I mean? Like where I mean, because really, I mean, you guys are putting your body on the line. I mean, for like you said, year round, basically, where
Yeah.
you're cutting weight, you're making sure you're at this, this weight, and that's probably what 10 pounds, and you usually carry yourself right, but about so right, you usually about 10 pounds. So
No, more. Technically, you're supposed to be like 10 to 15, but shit, I'm like 20 pounds, man.
sheesh, but I mean, to each his own, you know what I mean? Like that's it must be I mean, because it's tough, you know what I mean?
It's
Especially being Hispanic, you know what I mean? Like I mean,
yeah.
it's what I mean, how many you already know what it is, man. It's tough holding it down, especially this time of the year. But I mean,
Right.
if you don't need it, you know what I mean? Like if
Like,
he has money, he has money coming in from modeling, from he's probably going to be in a movie or two probably within the next year or two, you know yeah, that's it's tough because he probably really loves boxing, but
it's
you know
just other things pull him away from that, I think, because like I said, he has the good looks, he has the charisma, he has the audience around him, and so there's just I guess it's hard, I guess, and it kind of pulls him away from the sport. It's not really that he wants to, but he kind of does, and so but I mean, overall, I think he's a great fighter, man. He's learning, and he's fast. I sparred with him a bunch of times, and he's a fast guy, man. Really fast.
yeah, man. Hey, shout out to King Rye. Hopefully he comes back, and whether it is in boxing or whether it's other endeavors, um, it's all about making sure everybody's mental health is where it needs to be, and best of wishes to him, whatever his journey is.
Over, great family, great kid. He's super cool guy, man. Like every time he sees me, he's like super cool. Nothing bad to say about Ryan, man.
That's right. That's right. But hey, it's time to talk about the super. I mean, this is the event. I mean, really for a lot of boxing fans, this is a. I mean, since
Yeah,
what? Since the you call me a motherfucker. I mean, he was talking about my mom. You know what I mean? That day, I was ready to go. I saw Canelo throw.
that's right.
Plant says he didn't hit him. Canelo didn't land, but hey, the eye tells a little bit different, man. But are you ready?
They,
Are you ready for Saturday? Like,
oh, I'm excited, man. I'm ready to go.
and so Canelo is going to be attempting to unify. Was it the fourth belt or it's
Yeah, although that he's trying to make history, that he's gonna be the undisputed, the first time ever in that weight, in Mexican and everything. So it's gonna be pretty cool, man. If he's able to accomplish that.
And I mean, first off, let's talk a little bit about Plant. A lot of people just kind of overlooking him. He's a really good fighter. I mean, you're not a world champion for nothing. You know what I mean? Let's get that off the bat. But his journey is kind of very different from Canelo's. I mean, Canelo was kind of brought up. Kind of how do you want to say it? Kind of like
Everything
how the
did to him, but it just makes it a little easier for him to climb to where he's at, because, like I said, he just has the support, a promoter. He sells a lot. The people love him. It just makes things a little easier for a fighter like that than from a fighter like that Plant, that has really had to struggle to get to where he's at.
like this, let's talk about like styles, like Plant's style of boxing. How would you compare it to like maybe the casual boxing fans? Like how would you describe it?
People don't really. Unfortunately, he knows what boxing is. Boxing, unfortunately, is hit without getting hit, and that's what people don't like to see. And I mean, if you're trying to, see real boxing, You look at Mayweather, you look at Plant, things like that. Yeah, people don't like to see that, but I mean, he's boxing, man, which is like I said, hit and don't get hit, and he knows how to do that really well.
And like for Canelo, he's kind of the opposite, right? Canelo likes to take a little bit, but dish out a little bit more,
Right.
where they call it the Mexican style of fighting, right? Like that's his, I
So
mean,
fight. That's why a lot of people like to see him fight. He brings a lot of attention to boxing because his style is very exciting.
yeah, that's all. Every time I watch a Canelo fight, it's always looking like he can put the guy out maybe third, fourth round, but like he has that's like he'll take it like, oh man, is Canelo losing a round or two? And then you see him like flip that switch, and then like from round 6 through 10 or until he ends up knocking them out, it's you can just see him hit the body, and then headshot, and then it's like, oh, Canelo just like when he this last fight and he broke the guy's eardrum. Like that's deadly.
Like people, yeah, like I said, it's so easy to criticize from the outside, but like it's hard, man. It's hard. Canelo is, like I said, every fight he has, like you see improvements a lot. Like you see big improvements, and I just think that Canelo is, I mean, he's pound for pound for a reason. He's a really, really good fighter. I do see Plant giving him troubles a little bit, but I just think Canelo's gonna just close the show sooner or later, man.
And how much of that is, is Eddie Reynoso, right? That's his Canelo's trainer, right?
Yeah.
How much of that, even for yourself with your trainer, how much credit is due to the trainer? Because like it's basically your coach, right? Like, how's that process? Like,
Yeah, I've always said it's the fighter that makes the trainer. If it wasn't for Canelo, I mean, Eddie Reynoso wouldn't really be Eddie Reynoso. If it wasn't for Manny Pacquiao, Freddie Roach wouldn't be Freddie Roach. It's just that at the end of the day, when you're in there, I mean, you just gotta listen to your coaches, and at the end of the day, it's you. And so I think the fighter is what makes the trainer, in my opinion. Yeah, he does have a good system, good whatnot. But if it wasn't for him, he wouldn't be who he's at, who he is now.
No, I agree with that. I always feel like a coach can always implement a game plan, but at the end of the day, the fighter or athlete has to go out there and execute it and perform at their best level.
Right.
So what's your take for Saturday night? Do you have any? I don't want to get you in trouble if you have to pick a winner or not, but if you pick a winner, who you got?
I got like I said, I got a plan giving him troubles early on, but I just think Canelo's just gonna adapt too smart, start digging the body, and I think he's gonna knock him out in the later rounds. That's my take on it.
So let's say this, Canelo, I really feel like, very similar to you, Canelo just, and maybe not even Plant giving him trouble, but more so Canelo kind of filling it out, maybe not doesn't want to put himself in danger and kind of just being his fighter, taking his fight and doing what he does. But let's say this, Canelo, I really think Canelo is going to win knockout probably in the later rounds, probably in the 9, 10, 11 rounds, they call it the championship rounds. But, that's where I feel like Canelo takes the dub there. But let's say this, Canelo wins. What's next round? Who would you like to see Canelo fight next?
Honestly, it's because right now it's hard, because in the era he's in right now, I don't see, anybody giving him any troubles, whether he fights you or whether he fights anybody inside. People go see Canelo, and I just think that there's not really nobody that can give him like good competition. Like in competition, there, yeah, he can get that, but competition in order to beat him, like I don't see any fighter doing that. I would like to see him with one of the Charlos with Benavides. I would love to see him one of those. But with the whole promoter thing and just I don't know. I don't know how that works, but I would like to see him with Benavides. Uh, that one would be a really, really good fight.
Yeah, I mean, I remember it was that Charlie, one of the brothers was trying to get crazy with them, right? Like, yeah, he wants you in. Yeah, Canelo's funny. First off, Canelo, he's learning a little bit more English, so like he's throwing some English, throwing his little bit of English in there, and he's funny, man. Canelo's, I think he's gonna, I think he's only becoming more popular too. So, I mean,
I mean, not only that, and he just keeps on improving, man. After every fight, and so that's what people like to watch, and he gives knockouts. At the end of the day, that's what people like to see. People want to see knockouts. People don't want to see 12 rounds of yeah, it's good for the fighter. You don't get hit, whatever, but people don't want to see that, man. People want to see blood. They want to see knockouts. They want to see all that, man. And so that's a sad reality. And Canelo delivers that, man. He gives very, action-packed fights, and so that's why people like to, enjoy watching him fight.
he does deliver that for sure. Do you think him and Triple G got one more down the line, or you think that's kind of?
I think that's it, man. I think if Canelo fights Golovkin now, I honestly do think he'll knock him out.
You think Canelo wants that? You think so he can just quiet everything? Because
I I don't really think Canelo already needs him. I think now at this point, Golovkin needs Canelo more. Yeah, it'll bring in eyes or whatever, but Canelo, I don't think he has pretty much nothing to gain and pretty much everything to lose. So I don't think we'll see that fight again.
hey, Canelo, man, hopefully he gets the job done this weekend. That would be to see history and
Oh yeah,
with everything that Canelo stands for and represents, and it would be awesome to see. But
yes.
Christian, man, Chimpa, thank you for, I appreciate the time you spent. And before you go, we got a segment at the very end of every episode. Um, I just want to, what I mean, yeah, thank you before we even get there. But man, it's been a hell of a time, man.
Thank you for having me, and I'm all about helping others, man. So if there's anything that I'm able to do to help you out, by all means, man, feel free to reach out. And again, I thank you for all the love and support, and stay tuned because the second cheaper run it's definitely be better than the first run, man. And I'm very excited, man.
Hell yeah, man. So before we go, I got two questions for you.
Yeah.
So the first question is going to be a little different from the usual ones, but who keeps you going? Like, what keeps you going, man? Like, what's your why?
My family, man. My family is just my dad, man. He's been there since day one, man. And I just I besides the fact doing it for me, I want to do it for him. The passion that he has. He's always the one pushing me and this and that, and despite everything I've gone through, he hasn't lost faith in me, and that's hard to come by. And he's the one. He's the motor that keeps me going. Besides myself, besides proving myself that I can do it, it's my family.
No, that's right, man. Big, very big family guy. If you go on your social media, you can follow Chimpa El Chimpa or L
And
underscore Chimpa.
yes,
Make sure you guys do follow him. He always posting. Whether it's, I mean, your girl fights too, right?
yeah, she does, man. She's also a professional fighter.
Oh man. So how does that go right there? Is it like does she think she's the better fighter, or
Man, my girlfriend's she's only 4'11", man. She's very very small. Like man, she wants to fight whenever she wants, But
on
but no,
site?
she we've been together. It's gonna be 7 years in January. So we've been together for a cool minute, and it's she helps me out, I help her out. So that's always very good. We share the same sport.
Yeah, salute to that. Congrats on that, man. That's always a big, it's a big accomplishment, like shout out to that. Last question. So who does Chimpa want to see on the Center Lock show next?
The center lock. Let me see. The center lock. Who else? Does it have to be sports related or anything?
I mean, somebody you think that can come in, have a great conversation that can keep, like, we've got people say coaches, we have people say other, I have my buddy who's a comedian, come on, and who do you think that would have a great, episode with me?
Coach O, man. Coach O. He knows me. He knows Hawkins, of course. He's been around. Us. He's been to numerous of my fights. He's always watching Hawkins on TV, and so he knows us, man. So I think he would fit perfect, man.
I agree with that, Coach O. We got to pull up. I always call him 50 Cent. Because if you look at some of his throwback pictures, he has the headband on, and hey, 50 Cent. I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna be hitting you up, and you got, we'll figure things out. But hey,
yeah, hopefully he's able to attend, man, because he's he's really really nice guy, man. I really like him.
No, for real, one of the realest, down to earth people I've ever met in my life as well. But hey,
absolutely,
my boy, appreciate everything. I'm gonna put this episode out. People are, I look at, man, I've always been a supporter of you because you're so down, like Coach O, other, people I know, you're so down to earth. You keep it real. You're humble. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so easy for me to root for people like you. You know what I mean? So keep being you, man. Appreciate everything you're doing. And, we'll get this episode up, and hopefully, everybody.
You got it, man. Well, thank you again. And like I said, man, you can always feel free to reach out, bro. And we can always make things happen, man.
That's right. Hey, we'll definitely do that. Next fight, man. I want to let me know when you get those, that day. I'll make sure I'll be in the building, and, we'll get that grown, but everybody, thank you for tuning into this episode. I'm your host, Mark Vargas. Once again, thank you to our guest, Christian Chimpa Gonzalez. And best of luck, best of wishes going on for the next couple, your rest of your journey you got going. And, make sure you tune in each and every week. We will be bringing episodes, football, basketball seasons in full swing. And make sure you follow Sideline Sports on Instagram. You will like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, like our YouTube page, subscribe, like everything on there. Well, I'm telling you, once we hit 350, I know we had some time off. Once we're back, once we hit 350, there's some stuff for you guys that we'll be giving out. So, hey, we're back.
You got it, man.
All right, everybody. Have a good one. See you next week.
Buena Park is in the building. Buena Park? What's the deal? Nothing but the homies out there. Nothing but the homies. What's up with the homies?
Who poppin'? We